Hey everybody, Logic Hog's back, playing Project Hospital. And in this video, I don't think there's gonna be any space explosions, no missiles fired in my face. I want to take it slow, and this is the perfect game to do it. Because we're right back where we left off with our hospital, and it's time to set up the emergency room, which is a huge moment in this game because it's really where your income either takes off or you make such a big investment that it was a huge mistake and you fail. So, we're going to try and take it slow, take it deliberate, and I think I remember my intentional design with having the separate lab here and the elevators over here for the second floor, having the radiology on the second floor and specialized offices. So that's all going to stick. The main thing is I think we're doing fine on our budget. We're in the green. Well, at least for today, it's not showing our debt. But for yesterday we were in the green also. We just invested a whole lot into the building by building that general surgery office. But now we need to enable hospitalization at emergency by building a place where the ambulance can drop off, uh, well, people that need to go to the emergency room. This is where it's a life or death moment, and so it needs to be built. I mean, you can move the ambulance drop off point anywhere you want, but it needs to be built close to this area because time is a factor. People show up and they are about to die. So let's go ahead into planning mode and see what we can get. So, if we look on the left, everything on the left is related to building the clinic. Everything on the right is related to building your hospitalization area. And every hospitalization area requires a couple things. You require an on call room, which is where your nurses and doctors come from. Or, sorry, your doctors. And those doctors are going to be expected to be day and night available. And the nurses station, because your nurses are going to be the people that are dropping off their food, that are checking up on them, that are making sure that they're fine, that are looking for new symptoms, etc. The observation room, in this case, every department has their own little specialized areas. Like you can see the general surgery department that I switched to has two types of wards where they have a regular and an HDU, the high dependency unit, and that's common. That's like if I go into the hospitalization for orthopedy, whatever, the bone doctor, they have a similar thing, regular and HDU. But if I go to the intensive care unit, they don't even have anything. Well, I haven't unlocked it yet, but they basically have one unit. It's the intensive care unit. It's similar to that for the hospitalization for the emergency room because the emergency room is just that. It is an emergency room. It is a we get you in and we get you out as soon as possible and we transfer you on to another unit. And that other unit is where you're going to stay days, is where you're going to wait for your surgery. We're here to save your life. And then you go to the hospitalization for general surgery, not the emergency room. So we know we're going to need nurses. We know we're going to need doctors. We know we're going to need observation rooms or a big observation room with at least multiple beds in it. And we know we're going to need a couple trauma centers. Trauma centers are the nasty rooms that you have to stay in whenever you go to the emergency room, and you go in there and you wait 2 hours for the doctor to come and tell you that there's nothing they can do. And yeah, it's not like I've been through this a lot. I mean, with my condition and everything. But yeah, let's just say I have a friendly relationship with the trauma centers. Um, so let's go ahead and start planning this out. I want the doors. I want a 4x4. Again, I say 4x4. I want a 4-panel door right there. Kind of goes in. In fact, I want to plan for a double door, you know, like they have in real life, the kind of airlock style to keep the air conditioning in. So let's just go ahead and mentally lock that one in. And the trauma centers should be as close to those doors as physically possible because that's where people are going to go if they're going to live or die. Now, 6x6, it's pretty big for a trauma center, but I'm okay with that because 6x6, just like building the clinics, are all 6x6. That'll get you everything you need in one room. The thing is for the emergency room, we're really planning for the future. So, whenever there's a natural disaster, which will happen, uh, we have to have enough trauma rooms or trauma centers for that. Whenever there's a wave of virus that comes through and people start puking up blood, well, they're going to come to the emergency room. And we have to have enough trauma centers so that people aren't just sitting around waiting for care. For now, I think 6 is good. We might expand that to 12. Uh, that's a little overkill, I think, where it's like, holy crap, you know, if there's a freaking explosion at the Super Bowl and 10,000 people are hurt and they all come to this hospital, I think 12 trauma centers will be able to handle that. But let's see. Then I know we're gonna have a corridor, which is gonna be by 4. I know we're gonna need a bathroom because this is kind of a unit of its own, and I want to make it a bigger bathroom. And I'm gonna put it all the way on the other side of the map because they're gonna walk to the nearest bathroom, and I don't want them walking all the way over here to the clinics just to take a crap. So pretty much everybody in emergency, everybody in early hospitalization is going to be going to this bathroom. We need to make it be able to handle the wave of shit, literally. Um, Cleaning closet. Yeah, let's go ahead and put the cleaning closet over here. It doesn't need to be particularly anything special. It'll be the same 2x6. Bare minimum, 2 janitors. That's all we need. Let's see. How are we going to plan out the nurses' station? The nurses' station for the emergency room is probably the most important because these are the people that wheel around the patients. Whenever they're hospitalized, they usually have to be put on a stretcher or a wheelchair and wheeled everywhere. Just like in real life where I'm from. So let's go ahead and plan. Let's see how many tiles. I'll put that one tile into that one. Let's make it sim. You know what? Let's keep it 6x6, just for consistency's sake. Make it look a little uniform. How many tiles do we have over here? Did we leave enough room? 5. Okay. But you know what? That'll work out okay. Because then I will be able to put. I kind of want the nurses' station out in the open where these specific nurses are going to be the ones that handle the people coming in the door. Where it's like, oh God, you know, they're going to die. Get them into the room, get the doctors here. The nurses are going to be right there at the door. And that's pretty much going to be their main responsibility. So I'm going to give them a little room to walk around. They're going to be sitting in desks out in the open. And let's plan to add at least a couple more trauma centers. And then we'll have our nice little emergency ward right here where um, everybody is separate from the clinics. The whole thing is I want a clinic daily doctor area. I want an emergency and or hospitalization building here. So this will be good. That way I can have the doctor's office be back here. And yeah, let's leave. How do I want to do this? Because you don't actually need a lot of doctors for the specific emergency room. Because the doctors really do the diagnosis, save their lives, and it's a very get in, get out moment. So I think that will be enough. Hmm. But I do have the opportunity to connect them through this corridor, which I like that. Let's see how that would look. Or just keep the nice uniform 4 tile wide hallway. Okay. I actually like that. It'll be like just, 2 joint buildings. And I am because I was going to put the intensive care unit right here, but that's kind of small for the size of the hospital. And I'm like, I could put the intensive care unit on a second floor up here. In fact, yes, that's what I'm going to do. Where the elevator is going to be right there. Or let's just, call this whole area out as an elevator. So it'll be joined. No, I don't like that. I want the appearance of 2 separate buildings at least, get the concept. And then the doctor's offices are going to be over here. And I don't know how I'm going to fill that out yet. But there. Now we're going to have 2 separate buildings met by kind of a little hallway, sealed off, walled, windowed. Maybe put a couple plants in there, even though plants are inefficient, they don't belong. And we're going to put the observation room over here. Just a big, huge, 3 times long observation room. Because again, they're not going to stay very long. It's a get in, get treated, save your life, get out situation. What we're going to need is we're going to need to build this building one bit at a time. In fact, let me expand the observation room just to match up nice clean with the edge of the bathroom. And we'll see how many people we can fit in there. But yeah, all right. We're going to have to build this kind of a section at a time based on what we know we'll need. Because we're going to have to take out a beefy loan on this. We're basically building an entire new building. And I'm probably going to have to at least build this hallway to connect them. But let's jump into it. So, building foundations. We know we're going to need the bathroom. We know we're going to need the cleaning area. We know we're going to need the observation room. And we know we're going to need a couple trauma centers. So I'm just going to build the foundation for them, knowing we're going to need them. I'm not going to build them and flesh them out entirely right now. But I'm going to go ahead and merge the hallways. I like that idea just in case anything happens. People will have access to a working bathroom and the pharmacy. And right here, the cleaning closet. And I'm going to expand the doctor's office because I don't really like that wasted space there. So let's go ahead and include that in the plan. That's just an extra desk or two. A couple more saved lives. Think of it that way. But we're really going to need to fill out this with nurses because they're going to be wheeling people around. Like, people don't get an x-ray from the emergency room. They get wheeled to the x-ray from the emergency room. Someone's going to go in there with a wheelchair and pick them up and have to take them. So your employees are going to be very busy in the emergency area. All right. So, building mode. Let's handle the easy things first. The bathroom. People poop. Let's get a handicap one. Couple regular ones. Another handicap one. And a regular one. Let's include a couple more sinks. Sink needs to be placed on a wall. This one doesn't look like it does, but yeah, whatever, man. You do you. It was going to be on a wall anyway. Might as well put in the walls. We're just going to leave them at the ugly walls now. They don't need to be anything fancy. But we want a couple sinks. We want, in my opinion, more than one hand dryer. And I don't know whether they stand here or stand here. I'm going to leave it in the open. I'm going to be evil. They have to walk all the way across the shitter to put in the trash in the bin. No, I'm going to be even more evil. They only have one hand drying station. Because they do need the cosmetic trash bin. I mean, come on. It's trash. You don't want it there. It's the emergency room also. I'm going to leave this red. So there, we got all those. We got the doors. And then, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 toilets, which should be great. Especially also as we develop that trash bin, man. You know what? The trash bin should go here. And the hand dryer should go there. That looks a little more believable. I'm even going to give them mirrors on the wall. Is there any blood on my face? No? Okay, take the picture. All right. So, lay down the walls. Let's see how much this is really going to cost us. Because we started out with like $95,000. We know that's going to be a room. That's a room. That's a room. That's a room. We know that's going to be a room. And we're going to wall this off, but I'm just, using the square tool there. All right. Let's go ahead. Just make sure this is an enclosed building. Because people don't like it when it's not. As I say in other games, it looks dumb. All right, there. I think I'm safe to open this up to the rest of the hospital. So now we should be able to expand the regular, like, emergency room clinic as more and more people come, which is just more money in our pockets, which is great. Because the initial investment into hospitalization, Ooh, like I said, it's a sink or swim type thing where you really find out if your plan works. Let's go ahead and get our door heading in which case I know I'm going to need another wall. Right there. Now I want it 3 tiles in. You'll see why. And then we got to have the big welcome door there, welcome door there. And here's why. Because in between all the doors, in every hospital you go to, there's always a chair. That's why. Oh, man. My eyes are bothering me, so my nose is clogging up. Blah. All right. This is the money sink for the emergency room. There's a lot of equipment that is required for the examination rooms if you're going to max them out. Every room needs an examination or an operating table. I'm pretty sure the head goes at the top there. So you want to put it in the middle of the room. Head goes there, legs go there. And there's so much equipment attached to this. I mean, the operating table is $5,000. The anesthesia workstation is $3,600. It gets expensive. But everything needs a sanitary station. Everything needs a biohazard bin. It's similar to a clinic. Everybody needs an equipment cabinet. A defibrillator on the wall is handy. A medical light, I always give them. Digital imaging. I forget where this like exactly goes. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to like go here or here. I'm gonna put it there. Just because people are gonna be, you know, working on these people and they need to be able to like go in and check the stuff. Same thing with this. I'm gonna put the mobile workstation off to the side here, just so they can check all the info as someone's, you know, has their guts spilling out on the table there. And the lab equipment. I need the fast USG ultrasonography. And there we go. That's all the essential equipment. And again, this is a doctor's office, so I'm going to put the chart board up on the wall right next to the mobile workstation, just so they can do that 50-50 coin flip. What was it? Differential diagnosis? Here, someone, show me your skills. Who's there? What was it called? Yeah, or the advanced diagnosis, differential diagnosis. Yeah. Because all these doctors are going to be able to do that too. It's worth the investment. Now, these rooms, I want to have doors with windows. So if something's going wrong, in fact, I want to have double doors with windows so that when something's going wrong, someone can see in at all times and monitor the patients. And we might as well buy all 3 of these. I mean, I think it was 20,000 just for that room. I don't know. We're about to find out. So I'm going to copy this area. And let's see, we're at 24. Yep, it's 21,000 just for that room. So I'm not going to make a third one because we're going to need to take out a loan. We still need to have an observation room. We still need to have the doctor's office. And those have the computers and things like that. Those are expensive too. Oh, one thing I wanted to have in every room also is stretchers. Let's see, do we want the new ones or the old ones? I think the new ones. There. A stretcher and a wheelchair in every room. Because mobility is key in the emergency room. Let's go to the nurse's office. We can at least set up desks. We're not going to have super expensive desks in the emergency room. And I want them traveling in and out through the front. It seems like a small thing, but hey, it's my hospital. You buy the game, you make your hospital. There. Now we're going to have 6 nurses available, which is great. And all of the stuff is nice to have in the nurse's station, but I don't think you have to have it in the nurse's station. I know the stretchers and the wheelchairs don't have to be in the nurse's station. They're just going to they're going to grab the closest one available. And so I'm going to have like stretchers available sitting in the hallway where they just, the ambulance will come and they'll yoink the nearest stretcher out of the hallway here. The one thing I do think needs to be there is the meal tray. Don't quote me on that, though. So, I'm going to expand the nurse's station. And we might have a little extra walking area back behind here whenever this place grows. And then people will be able to walk into the other hospitalization offices. I don't know yet. I haven't looked that far into my battle plan. But this will allow us to have extra room for a couple meal trays. Because I know again, stretchers don't need to be there. Wheelchairs don't need to be there. The equipment racks do need to be there. And let's see. Let's just get them normal PCs. And we're out of cash. Time to take a loan. Can I please have $200,000? Thanks. Daily interest, $2,000. Daily interest, $2,000. And yesterday we only made $766. So this is the turning point where you make it or break it. So again, I'm not going to spend too much. We really only need 2 or 3 nurses at this phase. The nurses are going to get average chairs. And again, I want the nice looking stretchers. We're just going to put them in the hallways. Right there. The wheelchairs. They don't have red for emergency. I'll just leave them as the default yellow. So they'll be able to pick people up, take them to radiology, and bring them back. But you see the problem where it's like, oh, they're going to have to wheel them all the way, halfway across the map to the radiology clinic. Yeah, they are. And it's going to happen quite frequently. Let's get a vending machine in the blood spattered hallway. A coffee vending machine. That way, patients can come out of the observation room and they have food right there. If they're not bedridden and have to have it delivered to them. The observation room. We're getting closer. You know what? We're getting closer. Let's just get rid of the janitor clinic. Not have to worry about that. Bam. Shelves. Bucket carts. Do not enter door. Alright. Now we got the janitors. They're important because people will track blood. And the emergency room, whenever things get nasty, is a high traffic area. The doctor's office themselves. 5 doctor's offices. We're really only going to start off with 1. Or 2. 2 is safe. Let's give them an average printer. They don't need a beast of a printer. Nice office chairs, because they're doctors. And let's leave all this cosmetic stuff for later. Um, Again, we want to have doors with windows on them. No secrets in the emergency room, especially when you're saving lives. Now, all right, observation room. This is very important because you got to really plan out what each individual patient is going to get. How much space does one patient get in your hospital? And what's your hospital going to look like? Like, for instance, these modern hospital beds are 3,000, whereas you know, well, oh, they have different modern hospital beds. Okay. But they have a normal hospital bed, which is much cheaper, which is only 600. But that's your average thing. Um, I am willing to upgrade later. What we need right now is every patient gets 4 tiles. And you'll see why. We're just going to make it one space. And this is a shameless ward. We're going to be packing people in. Because this is where we're saving lives. And we're not here for comfort. If you want to stay, you transfer to another unit. And you stay in their, general surgery hospitalization area. But I want the best life monitor equipment goes on the wall. I want the best bed sockets, which are just the extra equipment that goes on the wall behind your head. For those of us that are experienced, I want the mobile workstation. Oh, that. Okay. Equipment, workstations, those are like you need one per room. These are for the nurses. So we're going to have like an entrance area here, which is going to be sort of a pseudo workstation for the nurses. And then it's just going to be how many people can we cram in. So we are going to pretty much set up this whole area just as an investment because we only need to do it once. I'm looking for any extra equipment that is going to be needed at the bed. Like, for instance, a bedside cabinet. Let's get them the good one. Now, everybody has a bedside cabinet. So now, looks like we've got everything. I need a medical light there. All right, well, I guess everybody gets a medical light now. That's new to me. But, like I said, all right, let's set up our pseudo station. We know we're going to need sanitary equipment. When people walk in, they wash their hands. Biohazard waste. Every room. I want the, again, tall equipment station. And I want the mobile workstation to be in the pseudo area. Pseudo area gets the chart board. Equipment tables. Again, in the workstation area. Because we need the audio meter, which is in every emergency clinic. The CRP scan, which again is in every emergency clinic. And a defibrillator on the wall. And that's the required equipment. So we are going to wall this off. Kind of as a private area. And how did I do? Let's see. Observation room. 1, 2, 3. Is it a thing of 4? No, but it gives room. Okay, great. Yeah, that actually worked out. So it'll fit pretty cleanly. Because now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this copier. Oh, crap. No. I was wrong. It's not 4x4. It's 3x3. And we are just going to copy down everything, just like that. Can I put equipment? Yes, I can. I can add one more station. If I just take this equipment and the defibrillator on the wall, put that defibrillator above the trash can. And have this be stuff that's oriented on the wall. Yeah, the chartboard could go on the wall too, but it's not going to be there. You'll see what I mean. All I need to do is just move these walls one tile, and then we can fit in 2 more patients. There, there, and additionally, I want to make sure there's as much visibility into that room as physically possible. Well, maybe that just defeated the purpose. No, it'll fit there. Okay, great. Now, observation rooms are comfortable areas, so I'm going to put double glass doors there. And let's go ahead and delete 1 tile off of these walls, giving them at least a sense of like pseudo privacy. And there we go. So that's half of the observation room. We're going to double that later. But that'll be more than enough to handle a huge intake. That, in fact, like, yeah, that 1 room will probably be able to handle the entire hospital later. Because again, in, out, in, save your life, leave for long-term treatment. So, we've spent a lot of money. We know we're going to need a janitor. I want a cheap janitor. All right, great. You have nothing good, nothing bad, but you're cheap. Bam. Now, hospitals, specifically hospitalization, need to be open day and night. So as you can see over here on the right, we have day staff and night staff. And oh crap, I lost track of time. So we've already gone over the half an hour limit. We're going to start staffing this up in the next video. But we're starting to have, like, I'm confident this is going to work. This is actually a pretty clean looking design in my opinion. So, looking forward to continuing this. Until then, Logic Hog is out, showing you Project Hospital. See ya.